Now, page 4, desperate times at the border calling for a desperate presidential constitutional response. They just keep coming. Illegal after illegal after illegal. They simply walk up to our border agents and say, hola, and then they say the magic word, refugee, and then they hold a golden ticket, which is some child that they probably borrowed for the journey, and they simply waltz right into our once proud republic. Our civil society is being trashed by these illegals who are taking advantage of our weak federal government that has produced weak immigration law. So it's a sovereign disaster. It is an insurrection. We have a do-nothing Congress, one half of which has no desire to end this assault on our rule of law. However, we do have a president who's got the guts to declare an emergency at the border and can do what he can within the law to secure it. But as we build the wall, illegals continue to attack unabated. Therefore, it is time to execute what some might consider a desperate but constitutional maneuver on the part of the president, the Insurrection Act. Now, this is not just one law. It's a series of statutes passed over the years that effectively give the chief executive the power to enforce Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. Yes, Article 1. This Congress is refusing to put down this invasion at the border. But under laws passed by Congress, this president may use the armed forces to suppress a rebellion or assemblage. What's happening at the border is an attack on we the people, and it must be put down by the federal government. That's its job. And when the Article 1 branch refuses to do its job, then desperate times at the border call for the use of the Insurrection Act. And a glaring example of the problem in Congress is personified by a radical, uneducated, anti-constitutional freshman congressperson from Illinois, Lauren Underwood.
With 5 kids that have died, 5,000 separated from their families.
Stop tape. Okay, so we have 5 children that have died, which is a tragedy, obviously. 5,000 kids separated. Let's do the deaths first. Whose fault is that? Is that the fault of the United States? Is that the fault of the Department of Homeland Security? Is that the fault of Donald Trump? No, it's the fault of the parents, and the parents alone for allowing this to happen. For the parents who dragged their children 1,500 miles through Mexico, however they did it, or worse, allowed their children. We know that 1/3 of these kids do not belong to the adult that they are with. We've done DNA tests, and we've discovered that they're borrowed. And in some cases, they're sent back to Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala, and they're used again for another trip. So whose fault is that? Is that our fault? This is child abuse. And as for the separation, we are a country of the rule of law. And when an adult in this country who has a child or children commits a crime, what happens in the process, in the due process? What happens? Well, that child or those children are necessarily separated from their parents. Big deal. We're doing what we do in a first world country much better than what they do in the third world country that they just left behind. Trust me. Roll tape.
I feel like, and the evidence...
Stop tape. I feel like. This is a lesson I taught my daughter many, many moons ago. When you have someone who begins a sentence, the predicate is I feel, everything after it is opinion and not fact. And that's the unfortunate truth about too many people in Congress like this person. So every bit of gobbledygook that she issues after I feel is opinion. It's not going to be fact. Roll tape.
It's really clear that this is intentional.
Stop tape. Intentional. There you go. So what she's saying is that Donald Trump intentionally wants to have these children die. She's saying, without saying, that Donald Trump is Hitler. This is the narrative that she wants to get out there. It is shameless. It is disgusting that she would accuse this administration, this president, and the good men and women, by the way, down along the border, and the good men and women of ICE who were trying to do their job of intentionally trying to harm these people. Every piece of video I've seen has been kid gloves. The intent, Congresswoman, you have it backwards. The intent is on the part of the illegal immigrant who has chosen to violate our sovereignty, who has chosen to thumb their noses at the rule of law in this country, who have chosen to use children as a get into America free card.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.